All right, so requirements for initial setup and logistics. Number one, we need to determine what email address you want to use for your emails from. And by that, what I mean is your email address that you use for your newsletter. It's rarely directly seen by the newsletter recipient, by the reader, normally because it's hidden by the inbox's interface. So the recipients see the friendly from name, like from Danny Snyder, instead of the actual email address. So again, as I mentioned down here, for example, my newsletter readers read Danny Snyder, not my actual email address. However, if your recipients ever reply to your newsletter or add you to their address book, they will obviously have to see your email address. So I suggest creating a business email address. I strongly suggest also allowing your readers to reply to your newsletter. In fact, you should encourage them to reply to your newsletter. So I would not do a no reply email address. And in the handout that I give, I'm going to give an article that's actually written by WordPress. WordPress is a company that helps people build websites. It's actually what I use, and the example artist that I'll show later uses the same website builder service, WordPress. And they have this article where they talk about reasons why using the no reply is bad. So if you want to read more about that, you can. But yeah, I think it's really good that you encourage people to interact with you and to engage with you. So maybe, when you're measuring your stats, don't just look at how many people read the email or how many people click on things, but also how many people write back to you. That's really, really, really important. That's where you're going to have a more one-on-one connection with your audience members. And then those are the people who are very likely to share your work and to spread the word about what you're doing. Number two, you need to determine your physical mailing address. Physical mailing address, we're doing online newsletters. I know what you're thinking. Let me read my note here first. It is completely understandable that you don't want your physical address to be showing up in every newsletter you send, and you don't want that to be accessible to everyone. However, it is actually a legal requirement in the United States so that communication between businesses and customers is regulated. You might have noticed this before in the past, you might not have, but whenever you get a newsletter in your inbox, at the very bottom, there is an actual address for that person who sent that newsletter, for that business. So you do need to have a mail address. You can totally set up a PO box if you want, but you do need something. I use my personal mailing address. It's maybe not the best thing, but that's what I do. But again, if you're not comfortable with that, if you think for any reason that the type of audience members you have that you wouldn't want them to have that, then set up a PO box. So, number three, what formats will you use for informing people about your newsletter and for gaining subscribers? Ta-da! Here's the question people are really wondering. In my opinion, you should use a combination of passive and active tactics. What do I mean by that? An example passive tactic could be something as simple as just having a subscribe button on your website or a paper sign up sheet at your live events. Like I also run a bed and breakfast, and we have on our front desk a clipboard right there where people can sign up for our newsletter. I've actually not started a newsletter yet for us, but my intention is to do so. And it's actually pretty surprising how many people will include their name because they think they might get promotional stuff or get some offers. It's interesting to me, like for how many people want that. Like for me, I am so bombarded by advertisements in my email inbox. I do not want any more promotional stuff. But some people, they love it. They are the ones who cut out their coupons. So maybe it's older people. I will be honest, it's mostly older people that come to my bed and breakfast. But so those are more passive, where you're not having to really push people and do too much to get people to sign up for your newsletter. And then an example active tactic would be maybe making social media posts that encourage folks to sign up for your newsletter to get additional goodies. So, again, telling your followers on Instagram or wherever, if you sign up for my newsletter, you will get this extra stuff that I don't put on Instagram. That's a lot of incentive to sign up for your newsletter.